Ever noticed a rainbow-colored sheen on water and wondered if that's oil? And if it is, do you have to call somebody the second that you spot it? Well, in this video, we're breaking down what's called the Sheen Rule, how the EPA decides when a discharge is reportable, what you need to do the moment you see one, and why spill reporting gets a lot more complicated once state and local rules enter the picture. Hey there, I'm Tate Hunter from RMA, your environmental experts. We help facilities manage spill prevention and reporting requirements every day, so if you need a hand figuring out what applies to your site, just reach out. Quick disclaimer right up front, we're environmental consultants, but we are not your environmental consultant yet, so nothing in this video should be taken or construed as legal advice. Okay, let's jump in. Before we go any further, if you're watching this because there is an oil spill happening right now, or you're currently looking at an oil sheen on the water, you need to call the National Response Center at 1-800-424-8802. That's the federal hotline, and it is staffed 24/7. Of course, if there's an immediate threat to people or a fire or another safety emergency, you need to call 911 first. And if you have an SPCC plan, this is exactly why you have one, and you need to follow it right now. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get into how you determine whether the Sheen Rule applies, what other agencies may need to be called, and where professional judgment starts to matter. The Sheen Rule is a federal standard under the Clean Water Act, 40 CFR Part 110, and it says that a discharge of oil is considered harmful and reportable if it creates a visible sheen, film, discoloration, sludge, or emulsion on the water. And you'll notice that there isn't a minimum amount or number of gallons written into that standard. It says that if oil reaches water and it creates a visible sheen, then the person in charge is generally required to notify the National Response Center immediately after becoming aware of it. Think of it like a smoke alarm. It doesn't tell you how big the fire is, just that something is burning somewhere and it needs to be found. A sheen works the exact same way. It tells you that oil reached water, but not where it came from or how big or how bad it is. It could be a few drops nearby from a leaky fitting, or it could be the first visible sign of something much bigger happening upstream or offsite. Reporting is what gets someone out there to confirm whether or not this is a minor thing that can easily be contained, or if this is the tip of a much bigger iceberg. So if you spot a sheen, do you have to pick up the phone right then and there? Basically, yes. Reporting is required as soon as the discharge is discovered. You don't need to know the exact amount or the cause first. Technically, a single drop of oil could spread across the water and create a tiny little sheen. So does the EPA realistically expect somebody to report one microscopic drop that briefly creates a rainbow on the surface? Probably not. But the rule also doesn't give you a clean exemption that says, oh, don't worry about it if the spill looks small. Now, that also raises the real question, where do you draw the line? That is not a call that you want to be making the first time mid-incident, and this is exactly the kind of gray area where an outside trained eye is worth having ahead of time. To make matters more complicated, states add another layer. The Sheen Rule itself is a federal standard about oil reaching water, but states can and often do have stricter standards for spills that don't reach water, and that can mean a totally separate reporting requirement to a totally separate agency. And reporting to the state doesn't satisfy the federal requirement, or the other way around. So one incident can mean two calls to two totally different regulatory agencies. Now, reporting a spill doesn't automatically mean that you're going to get in trouble. That's going to depend on a ton of variables like who caused it, and if it was intentional, and how much was spilled, and if somebody was negligent, those kinds of things. What tends to go badly, though, is the other path, which is not reporting it and then later being found responsible for a discharge that should have been called in. In that case, they're probably going to throw the book at you. Now, the Sheen Rule ties in closely to a handful of other environmental programs and regulations that you might be subject to, with the big ones being the SPCC Rule for oil management and spill response, and NPDES permits for stormwater and wastewater discharges. Now, here at RMA, we develop SPCC plans, handle industrial NPDES permitting, we map facility drainage, we evaluate spill scenarios, and we build practical response and notification procedures around the federal, state, and local rules that apply to your facility. We also help facilities work through the gray areas where the regulations don't really give you a simple yes or no answer. And if you're looking to learn more, I would highly recommend you check out our SPCC and NPDES learning centers on our website. There is a ton of information on there. We've got pricing calculators to figure out what our services cost. Whatever question you've got next, there's a pretty good chance that we've already covered it there. And if you've got questions about the Sheen Rule or anything related to spill prevention or stormwater, reach out. That is what we're here for. This video actually came from a comment on another video, so if there is an environmental rule or a compliance question or anything at your facility you want us to break down next, drop it in the comments below. There's a good chance that we'll make a video out of it. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.